I bet you've been learning phrasal verbs for quite a while now. Am I right? But you either feel you can't remember all of them or even actually use them in your everyday conversations. If you feel you can't remember all the phrasal verbs you learn, I'm afraid it's because you've been using the wrong strategy. But don't worry, because in today's lesson, I'll be sharing with you 5 super simple tips that will help you learn phrasal verbs easily and effectively. Whether you are a beginner, lower intermediate, upper intermediate, or even an advanced learner, make sure you stick around because I have a tip for everyone today. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Teacher Cosette and let's dive right into it. I'm gonna give you tip number 1 and number 2 together and you'll see why in a minute. So tip number 1 is start with action-based phrasal verbs. If you are a beginner or lower intermediate learner, it's better to start with phrasal verbs that describe actions. These are usually easy to understand. Why? Because you can see the action in your mind or you can even act it out. And tip number 2 is adding the opposite phrasal verb because it's easier to remember contrasts. Let's go through some examples. Turn on, turn off, turn up, turn down, stand up, sit down, put on, take off, get in or get out of a car, get on or get off the bus. By the way, if you have trouble making the difference between those, make sure you watch this video right here. The easiest way to practice these phrasal verbs is by saying them out loud when you're doing the actions. You can also practice with gestures to connect the action with the phrasal verb. Since these phrasal verbs are super useful and common in everyday conversations, use them whenever you're going to say one of these actions. For example, oh, it's getting cold. I think I'll put on my sweater. Or could you please turn down the TV? It's too loud. Or I need to get on the bus by 8. If not, I'll be late. And for opposite phrasal verbs, you can create mini conversations that use both of them. For example, can you turn on the light? And please don't forget to turn it off later. Here you have some other opposite phrasal verbs. Speed up or slow down. Pick up, which is collect someone or something, and then drop off, drive someone somewhere. Then we have check in or check out at a hotel, warm up or cool down. A warm up exercise before a training session, for example, and then a cool down stretch after a workout. Tip number 3 is replacing single words with a phrasal verb. So if you are an intermediate or even an upper intermediate learner, you already know the basics of phrasal verbs and you're ready for the next step. One powerful way to expand your vocabulary is replacing single words, more formal or academic words, with the corresponding phrasal verb. Let's give it a try. What if you help me replace the words in red in this email with one phrasal verb from the list? Let's give it a try. Hi Sam, I hope you're doing well. I wanted to explain a few important updates regarding our current project. So I wanted to explain, I wanted to go over, I wanted to go deeper into more details. I wanted to explain, I wanted to go over. Then, unfortunately, due to unexpected circumstances, we've had to cancel tomorrow's meeting. So we've had to cancel, we can say we've had to call off. We'll arrange another one once everyone is available. So we'll arrange another meeting, we'll set up another meeting. Additionally, some tasks have been delayed, so we may need to postpone the initial launch date. So we may need to postpone, we may need to put off the initial launch date. I know it's not ideal and I appreciate your willingness to tolerate these changes. I appreciate your willingness to tolerate. I appreciate your willingness to put up with. That said, the team is motivated to continue and maintain progress. So the team is motivated to carry on. or the team is motivated to keep going, we can also say. We've examined the feedback you sent and are working on implementing the key suggestions. So we've examined, we've looked over. We can also say we've gone through the feedback you sent us. One of the vendors we approached had to reject our proposal. So one of the vendors we approached had to turn down our proposal. Reject, turn down. But we are actively exploring alternatives. Also, I wanted to know. This one is very simple, but we can also say, I wanted to find out. I wanted to know, I wanted to find out. If you're available later this week for a quick update, let me know what works for you. Thanks again for your support. We are not going to surrender. This is a very formal word, and you can say we're not going to give up. And I'm confident we'll get everything back on track soon. Best regards. So you can see how this email sounded much more natural with all these phrasal verbs instead of using more formal or academic words. Here's how you can put this into practice. Take something you've written, it could be an email, text messages, and try replacing single words with these commonly used phrasal verbs. To help you with that, I've prepared a PDF with a list of all the phrasal verbs included in this lesson. The link will be in the description below. If you are an upper intermediate English learner, tip number 4 is for you. Learn phrasal verbs in groups, although I highly recommend everyone should learn phrasal verbs in this way. Instead of learning random phrasal verbs, try grouping them by the main verb. This makes learning much more organized and meaningful, and it also helps you build connections in your memory because you're just not memorizing words, you are recognizing patterns. My favorite one, the verb get. It has hundreds of phrasal verbs combinations and it often appears in daily conversations. Let's go through some examples. Get ahead. To make progress, especially in a career. For example, she works hard because she wants to get ahead in her company. Get on with someone, to have a good relationship with someone. For example, I get on pretty well with my coworkers. Get over, to recover from something. It could be an illness or even a breakup. For example, it took her a while to get over the flu. Get by, to manage to survive, especially financially. For example, I don't earn much, but I get by. Another one is get across, to successfully communicate an idea. For example, he found it hard to get his point across during the meeting. And number 5 is a big one, could be useful for upper intermediate or advanced English learners. Learn phrasal verbs with multiple meanings. Many phrasal verbs have multiple meanings, which can be confusing but also rewarding to learn. Start with the most common ones and please learn them in context. This is a universal tip. Context is key. Seeing how one phrasal verb is used in multiple contexts will help you truly master phrasal verbs, not just memorize them. Let's go over some examples. Take off. Remember, you can take off a piece of clothing. Well, look at this example. The plane took off at 8 a.m. There, take off means leave the ground. But when we say her career took off after her promotion, so her career took off, her career became successful. You see how it changes? Another one is come across, to find something by chance. For example, I came across an interesting article yesterday. You can also come across someone. For example, I came across my best friend yesterday at the grocery store. So I bumped into her, I ran into her. And here's another one. Just as come across, run into can also mean to meet someone unexpectedly. For example, I ran into my best friend at a store yesterday. So I met her unexpectedly. I came across her, or you can also say I bumped into my best friend. You see, meet someone unexpectedly. Run into can also mean to experience difficulties or problems. For example, we ran into some issues with the software. It can even mean to crash into something. For example, he wasn't paying attention and he ran into a tree. And the cherry on the cake, get into. I'm gonna give you 5 different meanings, but before that, if you want to learn more phrasal verbs using these 5 practical tips, I want you to go and check the playlist that I have on the channel. Here's get into. See you in the next one. So I'll break down 5 different meanings of get into. Number 1, to get into an activity means to become interested or get involved in it. For example, I'm really getting into gardening these days, or I've been getting into learning new languages lately. Number 2, to put on a piece of clothing, especially with difficulty. Oops, I can't get into this dress. It seems I've put on some weight. Number 3, to develop a particular habit. You should get into the routine of practicing English at least 20 minutes a day. Number 4, to become familiar with something or to learn something. I haven't got into video editing yet. I'm still struggling. You can probably tell. And number 5, to become involved in a situation, usually without intention. For example, after losing my job, I got into debt. Aha! I bet you didn't know that.